Welcome back into Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Advent Health. First half of the show, we had head coach Todd Bowles. Now I'm so excited to be joined by pass game coordinator George Edwards. Coach, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So great to have you on after a win. Always makes everything better. Tell me just some of your big picture takeaways from the game.
I think the big thing was being able to come away with some turnovers, getting some critical stops in fourth down, doing a good job in third down. So handling some of the situational football that we were facing the last 2 minutes, all those kind of things, seeing guys rise up and recognize being in those situations and being able to handle the adjustments and make plays in that situation was a big plus for us.
Yeah, and I mean, you're facing a backup quarterback, but Brissett's not a typical backup. He's had a lot of starter-type reps in this league. So what was kind of the unique challenge of him in facing a backup that doesn't really qualify?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of experience in this league. You're not going to really fool him with too many looks. I mean, he's seen a lot of football over his career. And just seeing him operate the offense over the last couple of weeks and seeing the things that they've adjusted schematically, from making a quarterback change and just seeing him handle those situations, you kind of knew, what you were going against. And, those guys rally around him and play hard for him and get where they need to be. So it was good to go out and be able to execute and have success.
Yeah, how incredible to get that interception when I think I read that he has the lowest interception rate of any quarterback in NFL history at 1.3% of his passes. So to get an interception against a guy like that's pretty impressive. Tell me what worked well on that play.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We were in a zone coverage. We were pattern matching, and guys were good with their eyes and able to, we were insulating the receiver underneath and on top, and we're able to get a hand on it, get it tipped up, and Wayne came up with the interception. So it was a good job really by everyone with the pass rush. I mean, he was under pressure at the time, so he had to release it, and guys came through and being where they're supposed to be and making a play.
Yeah, you guys now have 18 takeaways this season, which is the 6th most in the NFL, and 11 interceptions, which is the 7th most in the NFL. I know that's been just a huge point of emphasis from Bowles this last year, I'm sure from all of you guys, to the players. Why do you think those stats have been able to improve after last year and really put more of an emphasis on that?
I think the big part was it was something that we emphasized, like you said, this offseason. It was something we emphasized in training camp. And I think guys having a total understanding schematically of what we're trying to do defensively and where we needed them to be. And anytime you're getting picks like that, it's a part of the pass rush. It's a part of everything. So, with our pressure packages, guys, being accountable where they need to be in that situation. So it's a credit to those guys of going after the football and being where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, is there a line to walk as a coach of where you're wanting guys to make the big play, but you're not wanting them to do it at the expense of being where they're supposed to be or trying to do too much? Is that kind of a tough line to walk sometimes?
Yeah, it's a tough line, but you don't want to play this game scared. I mean, you want to go out there confident and, understand what it is that you're trying to do and understand how to take educated risks. So at the end of the day, if you're able to play within the scheme and being able to go make a play, we want you to challenge it and go make the play, take the opportunity to go try to make a play.
So can you tell me a little bit about, for people who are wondering, the pass game coordinator? Because some people might have thought it meant offensive passing game, but the defensive passing game coordinator. Tell me a little bit about what this role entails for people who don't know.
I think it's just a part of trying to help make sure that we all stay on the same page with what we're doing coverage-wise and, what we're doing schematically from position to position, whether it's underneath coverage or, corner, safeties, whatever that may detail from week to week. And it's just a matter of keeping everything organized and making sure conceptually we're doing everything on the right page as far as everybody understanding the concepts we're trying to get taught.
What do you think it is from your coaching background that has helped you in this role, of the fact that you do have to have such an understanding of every level? Because like you said, everyone out there is a part of the pass game defense. How challenging is that to be able to have the knowledge of all those different positions and how you were able to kind of have that background for it? Yeah,
it's been a blessing for me throughout my career being able to work with different positions, whether it's been with the front or in the back end. So I credit that to just having the opportunities, been blessed to have the opportunities to work with the front, work with the linebackers, work with the secondary throughout the course of my career, and have a total understanding of what Coach Bowles wants to get done from week to week.
We're talking to pass game coordinator George Edwards. Tell me what you've seen so far this season about maybe what some of the biggest improvements in the pass game have been since week 1 to now.
I think the continuity as we've gone through the course of the season. I mean, we're started off with a new nickelback this year, Parrish, who's a rookie that came in and did an outstanding job in the offseason and training camp, and getting him involved and understanding the different things that happen during the course of a game, whether it's stacks, bunches, whatever that may detail from week to week, and just all the things that we have call-wise and being able to adjust to them as far as leveraging coverage and those kind of things. I think our coaches have done a good job of expressing that to him and getting him to understand those situations and just the different situations that come up in a game. But then also you look at veteran guys that we have. I mean, Tyke moving from the nickel back to safety, Wynn, who's been, in the scheme for a while, and what we're asking him to do, and then our corners, just guys from week to week that have been in and out of the lineup, and guys that have come in don't have as much experience in it. So it's always a challenge to just make sure that everybody's on the same page, understand what we're trying to do defensively, understand not only from a schematic standpoint, but from a situational standpoint and matchups from week to week.
What are some of the unique things about being a pass game coordinator under a Todd Bowles defense, of what separates his pass game defense from maybe other teams?
I think the biggest thing is the multiples. I mean, there's a lot of multiples. There's a lot of different concepts that we throw at people, from disguising our coverages to where we're going to end up and how we're going to get to the final solution of what we need to get to. So, it's a lot of volume, but I think our guys understand when you break down the fundamentals and the techniques of it, that's what it's about at the end of the day.
What are the biggest things that you're working on with the different units overall as you look forward of the passing game as a whole, where you'd like to see some improvement in these ever important games coming up?
I think the biggest thing and the biggest challenge for us, like coming out of the game yesterday, just for example, is just when we get in position to make plays, making sure guys leverage and tackle, leveraging the routes up the field, make sure we keep our proper leverage, and then, seeing the quarterback when the ball's thrown to go finish on the play. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. You're going to get in these one-on-one matchups, and we've got to win those matchups.
We talked about Antoine getting his interception. Overall, just how great has it been to have him be healthier this year and available more, and what you've seen of what that's offered him in a consistency standpoint and his role on the defense this year?
Yeah, it's really benefited us a lot. His availability each and every week is good. He does a great job with communication. I think guys look to him for leadership, for calls and stuff in the secondary, and having him out there with the experience that he has in our system has just been great for us throughout the course of the season.
How have you seen he and Tyke make each other better back there now that Tyke has moved into that role? Because it's very important who you're playing next to and what that allows you to do, and the strengths and weaknesses it might bring out in you depending on who's with you. So how have you seen the two of them influence each other?
Just watching them day to day work together, communicate together, being on the same page. I think they hold each other to a certain standard because they both understand what it's supposed to look like from their position. And just seeing them day in and day out, as they work, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's on the field, and the expectations that they have put on themselves of what they're supposed to look like. And they wear it on their sleeve. I mean, they'll tell you exactly what it is that they think. They're very confident in the calls and communications that we have to make. And I think the guys, are very confident with them when they make a call that they're going to get us in the right situation.
What do you think it is about Antoine that lets him get such huge plays? It feels like when he makes a play, it's at such an important moment, or it's such a big play. Of course, we're about to play New Orleans, and thinking about all the ones that, whether or not they counted, we don't even need to get into that from the last game, but just the way he's able to make such big, huge, important, game-changing plays. What about the way he practices, prepares, his physical aspects, if you were to try to explain why he's that guy?
I would have to say one of the main things with him is consistency. He's consistent every day, whether it's a good, bad way. The one thing you can count on him is his preparation is going to be non-flawed. His physical preparation for the game, all of those things are going to be from week to week, from day to day, are going to be on par for what you want. And I think you see that he goes into the game prepared, and then he's able to just go play when he gets in the game.
And then when it comes to Tyke, why do you think he works so well as a safety in particular? I mean, he did a great job at nickel. What is it about safety that he's really built for, and his experience in the past of what all that has added up to, of why that's his position you guys have decided he's going to excel at the most?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a unique skill set where he can match on receivers underneath in coverage, which Wynn did early in his career too. A lot of similarities. You look at Tyke, playing in the half field, playing in quarters, all of those things, or whether he's down in cover 3 or down in man coverage. I mean, having a skill set to be able to be that multiple and matchup player, especially within our scheme of things, is a big benefit for us. And I think that's what he brings to it. And he accepts every challenge and is willing to go and match up against anything that we ask him to match up against, and does a good job with that.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Advent Health. We're talking to pass game coordinator George Edwards. This is Buccaneers Radio. Welcome back into Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Advent Health. We are talking to pass game coordinator George Edwards. So right before the break, we were talking about Tyke, and he got his 12th pass defense off the year versus the Rams, which in the top 5 or 6 in the NFL this season, and 6 tackle for a loss, tied for the 4th most by a defensive back this year. Tell me those particular stats, what that says about him and why he's able to make those kind of plays. Again,
his versatility, like I said, whether it's back, deep in coverage or down near the line of scrimmage, in coverage and in the run fits, as a blitzer. I mean, he brings a unique skill set to that position for what it is that, we try to get accomplished. And he and Wynn both, I mean, their skill sets allow us to do a lot of different things, with all the blitz packages and all the different packages that we use personnel-wise, having chess pieces that you can go match up. Tyke is a great guy to match up with, whether it's underneath or deep.
And then I know also the safeties and corners, even though they're 2 different position groups, have 2 different position coaches, obviously have to work incredibly close with each other. What does that look like in meetings, on and off the field, of the way that their communication? We hear about like the O-line and how important it is that they have that chemistry, or quarterback and wide receivers. What does that chemistry need to look like amongst all the different DBs?
Yeah, Coach Rapone and Coach Ross, they both meet together every day. So having the opportunity to sit in those meetings and, hear, them discuss different things that they're doing to make sure that everyone's on the same page, whether it's corners, whether it's the safeties, whether we're in reduction splits by receivers. Okay, what are we going to do in this coverage this week? Well, this guy's on the ball, this guy's off the ball. Well, how are we going to play this week? Just making sure everybody is in tune to exactly, what we're trying to do from coverage to coverage and match up, from week to week. It's critical for those guys in the meetings to make sure that we're all on the same page and go out and execute. That way, I think it just expedes that confidence amongst the players that, hey, we're on the same page. This is how we're going to do it, and this is how we're going to adjust it.
I know we briefly mentioned Jacob Parrish earlier and you guys getting him up to speed. Tell me what you remember about him coming out of school and the tape you guys had seen, and him joining the team, of what your expectations were of what he could be.
Well, looking at him coming out in the draft, you projected that he would be able to handle the physical and the matchup presence. He really did a great job at college at Kansas State when you watched him on tape, and his versatility to play inside, to play outside. You just didn't know, like coming in, it's the transition from college to pro ball. Everybody's got a different learning curve with it. But he came in, embraced the opportunity, and just never looked back. And you can just see his confidence has built throughout the course of, from training camp to the preseason to the regular season, and just seeing him continue to grow and just understand the different things that people are trying to do. I think he understands the pro game now. We're in week 13 now, so I think he's got a good understanding of what that's like, and just what it takes to be a pro. And he's got great examples in that room. When we talked about the 2 safeties, but then you look at Dean and you look at Zion. Another 2 pros. They come to work every day, locked into what we're trying to get accomplished. So he's got some good examples in that room, and I think he's just foul suit, came in and just gone to work. He always comes in. He's very, consistent with his time and all of those things as far as his preparation.
And how about the potential of Benjamin Morrison? I know he's had to deal with a lot of injuries, which that's tough for anybody coming in as a rookie in the NFL, but especially I think as a corner. What are the biggest challenges of when you're having to miss that much time in the preseason and training camp, and the ways you guys are working to bring him into the fold and what he could be in the future as well?
Yeah, it's always tough when you're injured because, just the consistency from going out there every day and getting the muscle memory work that it takes to play the position, and just understanding the different concepts, because we never really sit still. It's always always changing, it's always moving, it's always evolving. So, anytime you've got to miss time through that process, it kind of, makes you feel uncomfortable. And, the big thing is he missed all the time that he ended up missing in the offseason and training camp. But I'll tell you what, he really has worked hard, and we really look forward to getting him back out there and getting him going, on a consistent basis. Injuries are part of this deal, and there's nothing you can do about it, and that's what we try to express to him. Don't get too down. Don't get too frustrated. Your time will come. I mean, that's one thing about the NFL. It's about being available, and the opportunities will come, and when they come, you just got to make the most of them. So, he's done a good job throughout the process of learning all the new concepts of what we're trying to get accomplished. And like I said, I think with, just being inconsistent with being out there, I know it gets frustrating for him, but we just try to keep encouraging him that, hey, the time will come.
In time with someone who's been making the most of their opportunities, Jamel's been having an incredible year. Tell me a little bit of what you've seen about him for why this is the year of the interceptions, and just we've seen a lot of stats about when quarterbacks are throwing in his direction, how little success they're having, and just why this has been one of Jamel's best years.
Well, one thing about Dean you've always known is just how tough a competitor he is, and I think he accepts the challenge. I think, from week to week, with the matchups, the different matchups that we have, on par each week, he's been in this system for a long time. He understands, what needs to happen and what it looks like and what leverage he needs in coverage and those things. I think it's just a part of him just, seizing each opportunity and taking them one at a time. I think being a vet in this system, it's slowed down for him as far as the thought process, and now he can go play. And I think that's a big part of it. And again, you addressed it before, being on the same page and guys communicating and being sure that this is what's going on in this particular situation, I think has been a plus. But he's done an outstanding job of making the most of the opportunities when he gets them. That's the big thing. I mean, balls are coming your way. It's just, hey, I got to make the play when the time comes to make the play.
We're talking to pass game coordinator George Edwards. Tell me about Zion this year. I know there have been a few tough plays or games for him, but there's also a lot that we don't always see during the game of what he's doing. So overall, what would you say have been his biggest strengths, and then the areas that you guys are working on with him this year?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is really started off strong, and there's a lot of ebbs and flow to the season. There's a lot of ebbs and flow in games, and the big thing is when something good or something bad happen, hey, you got to line back up and pretend like it didn't happen and just keep playing. Especially out there on the runway, you've got to have a short memory with it. He had some injuries as we went through the course of it with his thumb and those kind of things, but he's fought through it, worked through it. So the big thing we talk about is just consistency, and that's the big thing, is just working on those consistencies, especially when it comes to leveraging coverage, understanding what people are going to try to do to you with the splits. I mean, all of those different things. So we look for it. I think he played better this week, and will continue to get better as we progress through the last part of the season.
And tell us a bit about the role of the outside linebacker in the pass game. I think that it's, I think about the pick 6 by Anthony Nelson, and seeing, there was a moment maybe a week ago where Yaya played a screen pass really well, that they're getting asked to do things in the pass game that I think can surprise us sometimes when you really do think of those guys as being your pass rushers, and then they're dropping back, in coverage. And so they are, man, what an instrumental part of it, of both the pass rush and sometimes being asked to cover. How unique is that for an outside linebacker?
Yeah, I mean, it's really a challenging position, especially with the multiples of defenses and schemes that we use, where they can be a rusher, they can be a dropper, and just understanding where they fit in the puzzle as far as different coverages and different aspects of what we ask them to do in coverage, and then to go rush the ball, which is as hard as anything in this league, is to go rush every down. So it's a unique, position to play. Those guys have a unique skill set, because that is what we ask them to do. And it just requires a lot of work on their part as far as understanding, the different matchups from week to week, because all of a sudden they can get matched up on a back that, that's a real good receiver coming out of the backfield, or they could get matched up on a receiver coming across in a pattern match. So all of those things are very challenging, but all of those guys have a unique skill set to be able to match those things as you look at it. And like you mentioned, some of the plays that they've been able to make, you can see they're very instinctive and in tune to what we're trying to get accomplished.
And how would you rate just the pass rush overall this season, whether it be from your kind of front four, whether it be, we know Bowles likes to send anyone and everyone from all over the place to do it. So at each kind of different level of the team that's asked to pass rush at different times, how do you guys feel like it's looked both from just a sack standpoint and then just overall also affecting the quarterback?
Yeah, I think that's the big thing everybody always gets captured up on is, sack numbers. Mm-hmm. And right now we're about middle of the pack when you're talking about looking at the number of sacks. But, when you're talking about pressuring a quarterback and the discipline that it takes to, keep the rush lanes where the quarterback can't run, he can't scramble. I mean, all those things makes it a challenging job, when it comes to the pass rush. I think our guys have embraced, that we do go four-man rush, and we got good pressure on the quarterback yesterday with four-man rush, but we also add a lot of pressures to it. And when you start adding pressures to it, those are different rush lanes. So understanding, what we're trying to do as far as confusing the protection and being able to get out to the quarterback, and then some of those guys having to drop in the coverage, like you're talking about the outside backer. So it's a culmination of all. I've always said this, good pass rush is good coverage, and good coverage is good pass rush, because they're such an integral part of each other as far as how close we are to the routes and being able to get to the quarterback and vice versa. I mean, getting to the quarterback and now all of a sudden, you're able to look back and, intercept the football. So they're definitely integral parts of each other, and those guys do a good job of working together and understanding what we're trying to get accomplished.
All right, we're going to take another break here on Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Advent Health. We're talking to pass game coordinator George Edwards. This is Buccaneers Radio. Welcome back into Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Advent Health. We have pass game coordinator George Edwards here with us. So we were talking about some of your outside linebackers, and I wanted to hear a little bit more about Yaya this season and what you've seen from him, both in terms of a pass rush standpoint, coverage, run game, his game just overall, and the progress he's made in recent years.
Yeah, I think he continues to get better. I think his pass rush is really, taking it off. We got a sack the other day. I mean, his effort that he's playing with is tremendous. He does a great job of setting the edge in the run game. So he's a complete player. He's got a full skill set, and we're able to use, his skill set a lot of different ways, rushing, dropping. In the four-man rush category, he does a good job of coming off the edge and understanding the up and unders and those kind of things. So I think he's progressed well throughout the course of his time here. He's in year 3 and understands schematically what we're doing. I think he's a lot comfortable with what we're trying to get accomplished.
And then how about getting Hassan back? I know that was a bright spot to have him back from injury after just losing people all year. It's been nice to get some people back in this last week or two. Tell me what he brings when he's healthy, whether it be before the injury and then now what you're excited to have him back for.
Right. Again, Hassan has a tremendous, skill set to be able to play off the ball, on the ball, drop into coverage, rush off the outside edge. I mean, just the speed and athleticism that he brings to the position is a big plus for us. So it was great getting him back out there yesterday, and we look, for him to continue to get better as we keep going through the course of it, more comfortable with, what we're doing with the time that he's had off. But it was great having him out there yesterday.
And then I know Servassier had to take on a much bigger role this year in terms of even what he's asked to do from the mental standpoint of the game and the role back there. Tell us a little bit about what he is asked to do and the importance of that idea of wearing the mic and being in charge of that for the defense.
Yeah, communication is a big key to anything that we're doing, and we ask everybody to communicate, but especially that position has to do a good job of communicating not only what the huddle call is, but just understanding the personnel, getting the front declared right, getting the coverage set right, the safeties communicate what the rotations and all those things are, but them understanding because it affects them with their alignments, and from week to week, the different tight ends, the different areas that we use to get lined up with is really a critical part. And this year, he's stayed healthy and has really gained a lot of experience at doing what we're asking him to do, and you can just see that he's gotten better throughout the course of the year. I think he's felt real comfortable with it, and just look for him to keep growing in that role and the communication and playmaking ability that he brings to the table.
Yeah, what is that going to look like, hopefully, of the areas you guys are still working on him with, and what that growth could kind of look like?
Yeah, like anything else, each experience is different. Each player grows at a different rate, faster, slower, depending on what that experience looks like. But I think he's made a big jump from, since he's been here, of just, like I said, the number of plays that he's played this year and understanding conceptually what we're trying to do. And I think he's gained confidence and will continue to become more confident with that role and making all of those calls. That's a lot to be doing. I mean, not only do your job, but to, communicate to everybody else to make sure that they're on the right pace to get their job done also.
I'm sure it is helpful to him beyond measure to have Lavonte in the room and alongside him on the field. If you're going to be having to learn how to do all this, there's no one better than to have him next to you on that. How have you seen Lavonte help him, and then just what Lavonte still means to this defense at this point, and explaining the experience level, the leadership level, and what that manifests like on the field and in meeting rooms?
Yeah, I mean, that goes well. So you did a great job of saying it. I mean, his experience, not only for us within, what we do schematically, but just as a person in the locker room, as a person outside the locker room, and to have him in your meeting room every day and to be able to lean into that experience, as a man, as a father, as a brother, I mean, it's just tremendous because he has all the attributes you want, as a football player, what he brings to the table, what it takes to do at that position as far as, playing the run, playing the pass, communication, getting lined up, holding guys accountable, all of those things. He exhibits them every single day. So from that aspect of it, I think he's got a great sounding board to answer any question that he's got that comes up, as he's working through his career, that's for sure.
We're talking to pass game coordinator George Edwards. So tell me about losing Kalijah at the beginning of the season, what that meant, particularly from a pass game standpoint, and just how amazing he's been doing in that area in his couple years here.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough when you lose a player of his unique skill set, especially a 3 technique. It's, hard to block inside. I mean, offenses, be able to move on guards and making them feel uneasy, to be able to play the run, to be able to play the pass. Just with his unique skill set, I can just think of different packages the last 2 years we were able to use him where we even dropped him some in coverage. I mean, Elijah is a unique skill set player, and we've missed him since the start of the season, but guys have stepped up. You look at Logan and Robinson have stepped up, and, he's got that experience, and hopefully at some point in time, once we get him back, it'll be a blessing to have him back inside, because he does create a challenge for a lot of guards and centers inside with just his ability to be able to move and his pass rush, understanding the pass rush, and just helping guys when they're running games and all those things. So we look forward to whenever we're able to get him back, that's for sure.
Yeah, Elijah Roberts has been an interesting one to see the way he's come in as a rookie and done a great job, and even at a slightly maybe different role than what he had in college. So what has he brought to this defensive line and the potential you see for him in the future?
Yeah, I thought he came in and he's done a good job of grasping what we're trying to get accomplished. I think it was a lot for him. I mean, the college game, especially at that position, is totally different from what we're asking him to do now, and he's lining up a lot more inside, where in college he played a lot more outside. And just understanding blocking schemes that people are trying to use against him, and whether he's a 3 technique, whether he's a 4 technique, whether he's a 5 technique. I mean, he's got a lot of different things. He's even down there as a 2 technique and a shade sometimes. So we've asked him to learn a lot of different things, and but he's got the skill set to do it. It was just a matter of him gaining the confidence of doing it. And I think, guys like Vita and Logan have really helped him, come through this process as he's come through, and Kalijah being around and being able to advise him as he's working through. All those guys have helped in that learning process. That's the unique thing about our guys defensively, is that they will extend that hand and try to help the younger players understand, this is what the standard is, this is what the expectation is, and to help bring them along quicker.
And now looking ahead, 4 of the last 5 games here, division opponents. I mean, it's fairly typical to have a back-loaded division schedule, but 4 or 5 is quite a lot here. So yeah. What are the unique kind of pros and cons of that, or the challenges and opportunities when it is that and you're having so many repeat matchups against people?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you feel like you know your opponent when you play them. I mean, especially you play them twice a year, every year. So from that aspect of it, but just like anything else, as you go through the season, things change, matchups change. So we've got, like with New Orleans this week, there's, they've had some changes in personnels, the different matchups and different things that we've got to adjust to as we go through, as we're looking to prepare for that. So it makes it tough because it's in the division, and, that expectation is we've got common matchups and everybody kind of knows each other. But I think from the aspect of us knowing them also, it kind of helps us, and we feel comfortable being in that situation. We just got to take each one of them one at a time and focus on this week and focus on tomorrow when we come in and get going that way.
So looking at New Orleans in particular, what do you feel like you learned from the last matchup that will still apply, or maybe what might be a little different or changed? I know you did get to see two different quarterbacks that first matchup, but now it's been quite a bit of time of now that one being under center. So tell me, how does that factor in, and just what you guys can take from that first matchup?
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing. They made the quarterback change during the course of our game, and now he's played the last 4 games. So, just going through the tape today and just seeing the different things that they're asking him to do, it's kind of changed a little bit from what we were doing as far as the preparation going in the first game. They've gotten some guys back healthy. Tyson Hill's playing a bigger role for them than we did the first time. So, from that aspect of it, this is just the first day going through it. But as we're working through the preparation for it, just seeing the different matchups that they've created through the course of it. I mean, they've had some different things that they've used at receiver because the guys in and out of the lineup. So we've got our work cut out for us. We know every time we play the Saints, we know what kind of day it's going to be. So for us, we're preparing for this game and focusing on, what that matchup's going to be like. And we know what it is to play in this game, and you can throw the records out. And that's kind of the way it is when you're in the division. And like you said, these last 4 are division games, and that's what it's going to detail down to.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, this has been Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Advent Health. This is Buccaneers Radio.